Now, let us show or prove the existence of identity and inverse properties for vector addition in R3. These two are the additional axioms we need to show in order for us to determine that R3 is a vector space. We already done with the closure property, both for vector addition and scalar multiplication. In the previous video, we also had the commutativity and associativity of a vector addition. And this time, let's show again that there exists identity and inverses for vector addition. So for this, we have here our vector x with components x sub 1, x sub 2, and x sub 3, clearly an element of R3. For the existence of the additive identity, we must show a certain vector identified as 0, okay? It's the existence of that, if it exists, that is also in R3, such that it would satisfy the equation of any x represented by the given earlier plus that vector must be equal to the x itself. This is true for all x's or vectors in R3. So that is what we need to show first. So what we can do here is actually express here, okay, express our x plus your vector 0 as a sum of really two vectors. Let's say, okay, we're going to let here our vector 0 as any vector, let's say, just simply say m sub 1, m sub 2, and m sub 3. Okay, so if this would really exist, that it's actually a vector in R3, obviously at this point it's really a vector in R3. But if this is existing, considering that it would satisfy this given identity equation, then we have proven that there exists additive identity. So what we need to show here is from this, okay, we will of course have the components of x sub 1 plus, not plus, x sub 1, x sub 2, and x sub 3, plus your 0 vector supposedly present, but we have here the representation m sub 1, that's m sub 1, m sub 2, and m sub 3. Our goal is to find the values of m sub 1, m sub 2, and m sub 3 if they exist, and if they form a certain vector in R3, then that is our 0 vector, okay, or the additive identity. So with this now, when we try to add the components here, of course, we'll have x sub 1 plus m sub 1, x sub 2 plus m sub 2, and x sub 3 plus m sub 3. Okay, so this is the sum of x and our 0 vector, presumably identified with components m sub 1, m sub 2, and m sub 3. Now, it should satisfy that this is actually equal to x. So this must be equivalent to x sub 1, x sub 2, and x sub 3 in itself. That would mean, if we're going to look at the components, this must be equal to that, second component must be equal to this, and this must be equal to this one here. So we need to show the value of m sub 1 if we're going to have an equation equivalent to this. Obviously, when can we get m sub 1 here? When we subtract x sub 1 both sides, so our m sub 1 is actually 0. As for the second component, x sub 2 plus m sub 2 must be equal to x sub 2. So similarly, m sub 2 is x sub 2 minus x sub 2. M sub 2 would also be 0. And for the last one, x sub 3 plus m sub 3 must be equal to x sub 3 for the third component. So m sub 3 is x sub 3 plus minus subtracting x sub 3 both sides. So m sub 3 is actually 0 as well. This time, we have shown that the values of your m sub 1, okay, is 0, m sub 2 is 0, and m sub 3 is 0. That would mean for this one here, our 0 vector is the vector with components 0, 0, and 0. Is this an element of R3? The answer is yes. Then that means we have found we have shown the existence of a 0 vector in R3 with this component that would satisfy this equation here, and that is true for all x in R3. This time, we have shown the additive identity. Okay, that's good already. Okay, so we have now proven that. Let's proceed to the next one. Now, we obviously this is written after identity because we are going to use here the idea of our zero vector or the additive identity we have previously proven. This time, we're going to show that there exists a negative x or n negative of a certain vector element still of R3 such that when added with the positive of that vector, it would result to our zero vector. And this is true for every we'll have here a certain inverse for a specific vector. Unlike our zero vector or the additive identity, it works for all x's in R3. This time, for every x in R3, there is a specific form of its inverses. So what we're going to show here is again the equation x plus the negative of x must be equal to our zero vector. So we're going to show that by using this one here and the components of Rx identified earlier. So with this, we have here, we're going to, again, identify this. So in the meantime, let's assume that negative x would have the components of n sub 1, n sub 2, and n sub 3. Okay? So that we could actually look for the value of that. Okay? And later on, connect it with the negative of the vector itself. Anyway, let's have it later on. So we have here the component of x is x sub 1, x sub 2, x sub 3 to be added with your n sub 1, n sub 2, and n sub 3 must be equal to our zero vector, which is 0, 0, 0, here identified earlier as the additive identity. So that would mean by adding the components here, you have x sub 1 plus n sub 1, x sub 2 plus n sub 2, and x sub 3 plus n sub 3 must be equal to the same zero vector. Component-wise, this is only true if the components are also equivalent to one another to satisfy the equation. That would mean we have here x sub 1 plus n sub 1 is 0. So solving for n sub 1, that's what we want here. Solving for this, and if we have the values here that would satisfy a vector minus x in R3, then we have determined the form intended for the additive inverses. So your n sub 1 here is actually 0 minus x sub 1 or negative x sub 1. Next, x sub 2 plus n sub 2 is 0. So our n sub 2 is negative x sub 2. And x sub 3 plus n sub 3 is 0. So x sub 3 is actually negative n sub 3. N sub 3, because we're solving for n sub 3, is equal to negative x sub 3. That would mean this should be the components of the inverse of x. So our negative x, which is actually equivalent to n sub 1, n sub 2, and n sub 3, must have the form of negative x sub 1, negative x sub 2, and negative x sub 3, obviously an element of R3. This means that we have found the equivalent form for the inverse of a certain vector, in this case x, which is also an element of our R3. Hence, we have shown that the existence of additive inverses are true. My point earlier of showing this in terms of n would also be differently written if I'm going to simply factor here negative 1, because we have here, of course, scalar multiplication. So negative x is negative 1 times x sub 1, x sub 2, and x sub 3 as we factor that. Obviously, this further shows that the inverse of x is just simply the negative of that same vector to get to determine it being an inverse of our identified vector x. So basically, for vector addition, the inverse of that vector is the negative of that, represented by this or simply by this when we have our our factor of negative 1. This would mean that in finding inverses under vector addition for any vector in R3, take the negative of that, and automatically you will get the inverse of that given vector. And that is true for every element in R3. So we're using X here, that's why it's this form. But if we're going to have Y with components Y sub 1, Y sub 2, and Y sub 3, its inverse is also differently written. It's the negative of that component with Y sub 1, Y sub 2, and Y sub 3. See, it's differently written for different type of vectors. Unlike our 0 vector or the additive identity, it stands as it is. It's always 0, 0, 0, or the 0 vector. With these 2 axioms already proven, and the other 4 in the previous 2 videos, we now have 6 out of the 10 axioms to determine whether a space is a vector space. We're trying to determine if R3 is a vector space because we might be able to apply as well other properties for vector space as we deal with such examples later on as we dig deeper in the topics of geometry of the sphere for this playlist. Thank you very much for watching.